Welcome to the session on Python basics. In this session, we will cover some of the concepts of Python language, say variables, operators that can be used for doing different operations, control statements, and loops. So let us start with the starting, that is variables. So in Python, variables names should be specific and these are case sensitive in nature. Variable names can be used for displaying the different values and for storing the results that you have calculated, and Python variables do not need any kind of explicit declaration before we use them. So in case of Python programming language, if we want to make use of same variable name for assigning different kind of values, that can be done. But such kind of feature was not available in other programming languages like C. So Python sometimes called as dynamically typed programming language. So we will see how to make use of variables in Python for storing the different kind of values. So in the first example, let us say we have taken height equals to 1.79, weight equals to 68.7, and then we want to compute the body mass index, for which the formula is weight divided by height raised to power 2. So in Python, these floating point values are saved in height and weight variable without any explicit declaration. Further, print statement in Python can be used for displaying the output. So we have used here print statement, and the syntax is after print keyword, small parenthesis, and within double quotes you can type any message that you want to display, and then close the double quotes, comma, and name of the output variable, that is BMI in this case. Further in Python, we can make use of type command, which is helpful for knowing the type of the variable. So we will try to execute the code written here in the first cell in Jupyter Notebook. Jupyter Notebook is one of the editor in which you can do your Python program. So we will run this code and we will see that what kind of output is coming. So you can see that the output variable is giving the value for body mass index 21.44, and type command is giving float, that is the type of the BMI output variable is float type. So in Python we can have different type of variables like numeric variables or string variables, but we don't require any kind of declaration before we use them in the Python program. In Python, this hash symbol can be used for giving the commands, and these lines are not executable. So strings can be assigned in two ways. If the string is small, then we can simply assign by making use of double quotes, as in the case of UT Chandigarh here, which is assigned to the variable state underscore name. Similarly, if the string is consisted of multiple lines, then we can make use of triple single quotes or triple double quotes. So here we have used INST underscore name equals to National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Chandigarh. So this is the name of the institute which we have saved in the variable INST underscore name. So one more thing is there, when we make use of any variable in Python, so usually we prefer lowercase letters, and in case if we want to declare some value which is going to be constant, then we can make use of capital letters variable name, like pi equals to 22.7, that is some kind of constant if you want to declare. So further what we have done, we have simply displayed the value of both the variables, that is inst underscore name and state underscore name, by using the print statement, and we have also displayed here the type of the variable. So if we try to execute this block of code, then it will give us the output where the first string is displayed against institute name message, and the second string is displayed against state name label, and type of both of these variables is string type. In Python, everything is object, And in Python, if you are having a variable name that is consisted of, let's say, two words, then you can join them simply by making use of underscore. Like here in this example, we have used both the variables, this inst underscore name and state underscore name. Both these variables are joined by using underscore in between. And while declaring the variables, we should avoid the reserve words because they will give the error message. Further, let us see what kind of operators are available. Usually in different programming languages, we are having different type of operators in order to perform the various operations. So the first type of operators that we are going to use here is arithmetic operators. Under the category of arithmetic operators, we have plus as the addition operator, minus as the subtraction operator, multiply as the multiplication operator, forward slash for division operator, and in this case it will give us the floating point result. Further, percentage sign for modulus operator that will give us the remainder of division. And double star stands for exponent operator, a raised to power b or 2 raised to power 3. Such kind of things we can calculate by making use of exponent operator by using double star. And lastly, we are having 2 forward slash that represents integer division. So the difference between the earlier division operator and this one is that in this case the final result will be of integer type. So all these operators are utilized here in the next example. One more thing, sometimes we people read the value of a variable through input command, and that by default returns a string type value. So before we compute any kind of thing using those values, we need to convert them into integer type or float type, that is numeric type data value. So for that purpose we can make use of typecasting by using the methods like int. So here in this example also, I have used two variables a and b in order to read the values for the two variables. So for this purpose we have used here input method. So input, enter the value of a. This is a message which we have given in double quotes. Close the parenthesis, and the result returned by the input command is further typecasted by the int method. So int we need to write outside the input method. So further in the second line, b equals to int, and within parenthesis again input method for reading the value of b. And after this, the normal operation we have performed. So Python can also work like a calculator for us. So like here in this example, what we have done, we have taken a variable add underscore nums equals to a plus b, and result of this is displayed in the next print statement. Sum of two numbers equals to add underscore num. Similarly, if you want to check out the type of this result, you can also make use of type command again in the print statement. Type within brackets add underscore nums, that is the name of the variable. So on the similar pattern, we have tried to compute between the two variables a and b the different arithmetic operations. Next we have done division between the two, and further we have used subtraction operator also. Similarly, you can apply multiplication operator here. Similarly, we can make use of mod operator. So all the operations you can perform between the two variables, and you can check it out what kind of type it is giving, like here. So after doing all this coding, we can check what kind of result it will provide. So as I said, rather than giving a static value to the variables a and b, we have tried to read the value by using the input method. So you can see that once we clicked on run option here, so this block of code within this cell will be run, and it will ask us the value of a. So let me put here 3, then I will press enter. Again enter the value for the second variable, let us say 2, and now you can see that all the results are computed for different mathematical operations. So for sum it is 5, for subtraction the answer is 1, for division it is 1.5, that is floating result. But in case of integer division you can see that the decimal part of the result is removed and the only answer is 1 here. Similarly multiplication, modulus of two numbers, that is the remainder between 3 and 2, and lastly the exponent operator. So it has done 3 raised to power 2, that is 9. So after this we will use assignment operators, and in case of assignment operators they work just like shorthand assignment operators. So you can see that if we are using a plus equals to b, so this is equivalent to the normal mathematical expression a equals to a plus b. Similarly you can replace this plus with minus, a minus equals to b. So this is equivalent to the normal mathematical expression a equals to a minus b. So in the similar way you can go for multiplication, shorthand assignment operator, or division or exponentiation, and so on. So all this we have tried here in the next block. So we have tried to compute 3, 4 assignment operators in this manner, like here a equals to 3, b equals to 2, a equals to a plus b. So rather than writing a equals to a plus b, we have simply used a plus equals to b, and then you can just print the result of this output variable a, because finally the result is going to be saved on the left hand side variable, that is a. So in the similar manner we have calculated the different operations. Now next is swapping of two numbers. So we know that in different programming languages you need to write at least 3-4 lines in order to swap the two numbers. But in Python, by using a single line statement you can swap the numbers. So let us see how to do this. We have assigned a equals to 10, b equals to 20, and then a comma b. In the third line a comma b equals to b comma a. So a will be swapped by b, that is on the right hand side the first variable. Similarly on left hand side after comma b is written. So b will be swapped by second variable on the right hand side, that is a. So in this single statement what we have done, we have swapped the numbers a and b. So you can just verify whether we have done correctly or not by using the print statement. Next, print the value of a after swapping and then output variable a. And similarly in the next print command, in this print command you can just display the value of variable b, and you can see that initially the value for a is 10 and b is 20, but after swapping the value has been changed to 20 and 10. So next to this is how we can make use of Boolean variables. So we have seen type variable for checking the type of integer type or float or string. Similarly, if I have written here like Indian equals to true, capital TRUE. So if you will try to just check the type of this variable, type of Indian, so it will show you BOOL, that is Boolean type. So in Python we can make use of Boolean type operators also, and here Boolean represents the type of this variable. Next is relational operators. In relational operators, the commonly used relational operators or comparison operators are greater than operator, the first one, then greater than or equal operator, then less than operator, then less than or equal to, and next to that is double equals to represents the equals operator. When we are forming some condition in a control statement, then you can just check for the equality condition by using the double equal to sign, and single equal represents to assignment operation, and exclamation sign equal to represents not equal to. The last one, this is not equal to. So by making use of all these relational operators, you can construct a condition. So these are very helpful while using if statement, if else statement, and if elif ladder. In Python we don't have else if ladder, but we write it as elif. So first of all we will check the syntax of if control statement. So here the syntax is just written if condition and it is followed by colon. So every kind of control statement is followed by colon in Python language, and then if the condition is true, you will have to execute the expression or the block of code that is provided along with the if condition. So this can be well understood by the example given here in the next cell. Z equals to 4, and if Z mod 2 equals to 0, print Z is even. So if the condition Z mod 2 means if the remainder after dividing the value of Z by 2 is 0, then print that Z is even. So when we will run this block, it will show us the output given here, Z is even. So similarly, if you have more than one conditions to check, then instead of if statement, we can make use of if else statement. So the syntax here is very simple: if condition colon. If it is true, we will execute the next block of code, and if else block is true, else condition is true, then we will execute the else block. So this will act like checking the two alternate conditions. So the same example that we have just tried above, we will try to execute with the help of if else statement. So if the value of Z is 5 here, and we are using if condition, if Z mod 2 equals to 0 colon, print Z is even, otherwise else block will be executed and it will show us Z is odd. So in order to just make some difference, let me give here 6. So I will try to run here. So earlier it was showing Z is odd, but now as I have made change in the value of Z here in the first statement, so the output here is Z is even. Now let us come to the next, that is if elif ladder. Elif is just like else if in other languages. So here also various conditions can be given, and the condition which is satisfied, accordingly the block of code will be executed. So the same example which is done above, it will be elaborated further by using this kind of control statement. So we have taken Z equals to 5 and we have put here if Z mod 2 equals to 0 and Z mod 3 equals to 0. It means we are looking for two conditions to be true. Such kind of conditions is known as compound conditions. So if both the conditions are true, then we will display print Z is divisible by 2 and 3. Otherwise, it will go to the next condition and it will check Z modulus 3 equals to 0. If it is true, then print Z is divisible by 3. Similarly, next condition Z mod 2 equals to 0, print Z is divisible by 2. And at the end, after checking all the conditions, if none of them is satisfied, then it will come to the last else block and it will display the message Z is neither divisible by 2 nor by 3. So in order to just check the output, we can make changes here. Let's say I am giving here 12. We will try to run. So Z is divisible by 2 and 3 because the value for Z is 12 here. Similarly, you can try the other options also. After this, we are having logical operators that can be used for forming the compound conditions. So we have just seen the usage of AND operator here in order to make the two conditions to be true for further execution of any block of code. Similarly, OR, that is OR operator, this can be used if one of the condition needs to be true. And similarly, for negation, we can make use of next operator, that is NOT, not operator. So whatever is the result of the condition, its negation will be taken. So we have taken an example here, one more example, and in this statement we would like to learn one more thing here. X equals to 1 semicolon, y equals to 2 semicolon, z equals to 3. So mostly in Python programming language, we prefer giving the different statements in different lines. But here you can see that three assignment statements are provided in the same line. So for that purpose, we have utilized here semicolon in between x equals to 1 semicolon in order to separate the two assignment operations. But otherwise, if you wish, you can give it on different lines also. And in Python, we don't need to give semicolon at the end of every line. That is not required. And one more thing is there, when we are making use of control statements or any kind of loops, then we should provide proper indentation, that is must. In case if the indentation is not given correctly, then the answer will be wrong or it will give some error message. So we have checked here condition if x is less than y and y is less than z, colon, print yes. So if both the conditions are true, only then yes will be displayed and otherwise no will be displayed. So it is very helpful in constructing the various conditions. Okay, the next kind of operators in Python are bitwise operators, and these can be used for computing some operations on bit level. So the first one is ampersand sign. It is equivalent to bitwise AND operator. The next one is this vertical, and it is equivalent to bitwise OR operator. Tilde symbol, it represents the complement operator. Further, this caret sign, it represents bitwise exclusive OR operator. We can also compute bitwise left shift operator by giving this sign, and similarly at the end we can go for bitwise right shift operator also, and all these operations can be done on bit level. So let us see using example how to do this. So we have taken one variable s1 which is equals to 10, t1 which is equals to 11, and then u1 equals to s1 ampersand t1, that is ampersand stands for bitwise AND operation, and we will do this AND operation, bitwise AND operation between the values of s1 and t1 in their binary form. So then you can display the result of this. Similarly, you can try the different operations on the values of different variables. In the second example, s2 equals to again 10 and t2 equals to 11, and we have tried to run here the bitwise OR operator. So one by one you can apply all these operators, and let me run this block of code. So you can see that the result for first one is 10 after doing the bitwise AND operation, and after doing the bitwise OR operation the result here is 11. In the next one, complement operation, we have achieved the value of -3, and S4 exclusive or T4, it will give us the result 1. So it all depends upon what values are initialized to the variables used in the code. So you can also try these all operations as we have done here in case of bitwise exclusive or similarly you can make use of bitwise left shift operator. It's very easy. We have simply initialized x equals to some value, let's say 10, and then the left shift operator is applied on the value of x. So you will have to mention by how many bits you want to shift. So we have given here 2, x left shift operator 2, and its result is shown below. Now next two control statements is while loop. So while loop is a kind of repetitive loop that is used for doing some kind of iterative control statements. So we can make use of while loop in this manner: while, condition, colon, and then expression. So after this also you need to put this colon at the end, and one very simple example of this is tried here. Let us say we want to display a multiplication table by using the while loop between 2 to 4. So for this purpose we have initialized j variable to 2 while j less than equal to 4. This is the condition up to which the loop will be executed. So once the value of j is more than 4, it will come out of the loop. I is initialized to 1. Print, this is simple print statement, print table of the value of j, that is initially it will start with displaying the multiplication table of 2. So we have used here one nested loop while I less than equal to 10 and colon. So just in order to print 2 into 1 equals to 2, so we have taken another nested loop, print value of j into I in the next statement, and then increment the value of I. So after doing this, it will just display the table of 2, and after coming out of this while loop, as you can see, these two lines print j into I and I equals to I plus 1. These both are in the nested loop, and after execution of this loop, we are going to increment the value of j. So after displaying the complete table of 2 up to 10, it will now start displaying the table of 3. So you can just try out also by running this, and we can see that the result achieved here is, so you can just scroll up and see the table of 2 is printed up to 2 into 10, that is 20, and after this it has started printing the table of 3, and as the condition was while j is less than equal to 4, so it has printed up to the value of 4. So in this manner while loop is very helpful for executing something more than once. Similarly, in Python we can have another kind of loop that is known as for loop, and for this we have the syntax for variable in sequence expression. So here this variable can be any loop variable, and seq, that is any kind of sequence. It can be a string value, it can be a list, it can be a tuple, and so on. So actually we have to cover this data structure part in the next sessions. So for the time being you can simply understand that in case of for loop, var, that is it is a variable, and seq can be any kind of sequence or list of values. So we indent the statements to be repeated with tabs or spaces. So similar to the control statements, while writing the code under any kind of loop, you will have to provide proper indentation by pressing on tab or by giving some number of spaces. Variable name gives a name to each value, so you can refer to it in the statements, and group of values can be any kind of range of integers also. So like here in this example, we have simply tried to display the value of squares, like square of 1, 1, in the next line square of 2, 4, square of 3, 9, and the syntax for this is very simple. We have used here for loop. For x is a variable in range. So range here is basically a method, and its syntax is after range in parentheses you put the arguments. The first argument you can see that it is start. So from which value you are going to start, stop means up to which value it will go, and normally the starting value is inclusive and the last value, that is stop value, is exclusive. So if we have written here 1 comma 6, it means it will start from 1 and it will go up to only 5. 6 will not be included. And if you wish, in range method we can also provide step. So here in the example given, for printing the value of squares is not having the third argument, only two values are provided, 1 comma 6. So if you wish, it should print the square of 1, then it should print the square of 3 and so on. So we will simply try to give here one more argument, let's say 2. And we will try to run this block again. So you can see that in between values are removed now. So the first value displayed is square of 1, that is 1, square of 3, that is after step of 2, it is 9, and then square of 5, that is 25. So you can also make use of this range method at different places. One more interesting thing is there, in most of the programming languages, normally it is a constraint that we cannot go for Python reserve words for declaring any kind of variables. So if you want to check the list of reserve words in Python language, then what we can do, we can make use of statement import keyword. Import is a statement for accessing any library of Python language. So keyword is a library here, import is a statement. Then in the second line we have written print within brackets keyword dot kw list, and once you will run this block, it will show you the list of all the reserved words in Python. So it is very helpful while deciding any user specific variable name. So it should not be lambda, it should not be yield, it should not be finally. These all words are not allowed for any variable name. So few more examples are there for covering the loops for I in Chandigarh. So what we have done, we have used here Chandigarh, a word or a string, and then we have tried to print every letter of Chandigarh after capitalizing it or after converting it into capital letters. So for this we have inbuilt function capitalize I dot capitalize. You can check the syntax here, I dot capitalize, and then as it is a method, close the brackets. So the output of the above for loop is like this, CHANDIGARH. All the characters of the Chandigarh string are in different lines. But in case if you want to print complete Chandigarh in the same line, then the second method is used, or you can simply print the value of the string by using simple print statement. So in the second statement in print, we have written print the value of I. As the value of I is taken from the for loop variable, so it will access the each character of Chandigarh string one by one, but it will not display it in the next line. It will simply display all the characters in the same line, and this is just because of this AND argument written in the print start statement. So AND equals to within double quote space. So this AND arguments prohibits it from displaying all the characters in the different lines. So with this example we are stopping here, and we have seen that in Python basics different kind of variables or different kind of operators can be used, and by using control statements you can design your conditional statements, and loops is a provision for doing something repetitively. Thank you.